Hey everyone, thanks for joining me today on the Kris Kondrad Movie Review Show. Today I'll be reviewing Escape Plan, new on DVD and Blu-ray, starring two action heavyweights from my day, Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger. I recently turned 40, about 2.5 years ago, and grew up in the 80s, and these two fuckers ruled the 80s. They were major players. They were the heavyweight action superstars of my time. This guy and the Rockies and Rambos, Cobra, this guy and Predator and the Terminators and Conan the Barbarian. Are you kidding me? Come on. And finally, together at last in a movie. This is quite exciting. I am very excited to be here reviewing this film. They were in Expendables, but just for a few seconds. This fucker was still governor of California. It was before he fucked his maid and flushed his political career down the toilet and wound up back at Hollywood store like, could I go back to making movies, please? And they let him, and this is his second film out. The first film he did was called The Last Stand, and it was a horrific piece of shit. I actually saw it in the theater, not because I was, awaiting his triumphant return with any kind of excitement. Again, I grew up loving that shit, but I didn't expect anything from him anymore. I'm a grown-up now. I'm not a huge Schwarzenegger fan. But it was directed by Kim Soon Park. He's got a Kim and a Park in his name, and he's South Korean, they all do. But the guy who directed I Saw the Devil from like 6 or 7 years ago, amazing action thriller, check it out if you like South Korean film or just really good violent action films. And that made me come out to the theater to see him in this movie, but the movie was horrible. Even Peter Stormare, one of my favorite fringe actors, couldn't save it. I think a little advice I should give you people out there is when you see Johnny Knoxville in a movie and it's not a jackass-related comedy, avoid the film like the plague. That's a bad sign. But anyhow, this guy right here, Stallone, lately has been in straight-to-DVD movies, which I find kind of sad. But whatever, he's had his day. No, seriously, I'll be looking on Netflix or Redbox, and there's movies I never heard of with him. This movie actually feels like a straight-to-DVD movie that somehow found its way to the theater, I guess because the pairing of these two guys merited it. I give it 2 stars, by the way, I usually do that right away. 4-star review, 4 is the best, 0 is the worst, this gets 2 stars. I wanted so much more. It's not a total piece of shit, but it's just a cliched, hackneyed prison escape movie. It's got all the cliches, the beatings, the riots, the despicable warden, the double crosses. In one scene, and I'm spoiler alert, but who gives a shit? It turns out they don't know where this prison is. Stallone, his job is to break out of prisons, and prisons pay him to find the hole and where people can get out and make them better prisons, which doesn't make sense really, but it does because at one point Schwarzenegger, because I was wondering myself, goes, "Why would you do this for a living?" And Stallone explains that he was a prosecuting attorney at one time. Yeah, this guy's a lawyer. And he busted up some mobsters, some shit, who escaped from prison and killed his wife and child out of revenge. And now he's going to make sure that anyone goes to the joint stays in the joint. And it's just a goofy backstory. And I don't know if I was supposed to get choked up over it or give a shit. It's just goofy. A lot of goofiness in this movie, but I wanted goofiness. I wanted fun goofiness. I wanted a movie to get stoned with my friends and we could laugh at. But it really isn't that bad. It's so bad it's good, and it's not so good it's good. It's just in the middle. It's just a flat film. Both these guys are not too old. That wasn't the problem. If you're worried they're too old, they pull it off. I swear to God, their physicality still works. They both hit the gym. Their acting is as shitty as ever, but it's not like, what do you expect from these two? You know what I mean? The main flaw just lies in the writing. There's a scene in the beginning where Schwarzenegger breaks out of prison. It's before we know that he's, well, now you will from this review, but if you read about it, that his job is to break out of prisons. And it's a good scene. The whole break is we get to see how it works, and it's fun to watch the mechanism of a good prison escape. Who doesn't love, like, from Clint Eastwood escaped from Alcatraz, Franklin Schaffner's Papillon, a great prison break movie, with these elements of watching the break, but that's a good scene, but it's like the writers used up all their creativity and intelligence right in the opening scene, and then it was gone for the big escape that's the meat of the movie, the bulk of the story, when these two are trying to escape from the other prison. Because everything, they got plan Bs and Cs, and by the end, I don't remember how they got out because it doesn't really matter. At one point, this guy makes a sextant. A sextant, what's that? It's a compass made out of a bunch of shit, a pen, eyeglasses. It doesn't make any sense the way they smuggle this shit and get it together. And then he has this guy go up on the deck and read where they are so that people can come pick them up. And then there's a little twist at the end that's kind of cute with these two. But overall, it's not a piece of shit. If you're just a diehard fan of these two and you can't wait to see them in a feature film together, go see it. Or, I mean, it's Blu-ray, rent it, Netflix it, stream it. But don't expect a big fun, get stoned, and just have a wild ride with the friends, because it's just not that. And until next time, this is Kris Kondrad with the Kris Kondrad Movie Review Show. Thanks for joining me.